era where all of Lawbree's music friends turned against him, only 3 super glazers were able to save the day. Snack-a-diddler.
Those 3 Big Macs are for me.
Meat-munching Maul.
I'm some OVO, dick-riding, Drake-caping
and repugnant Rory. Aubrey's Avengers, coming to a theater near you.
Lawbrees and Gentlegrams, Lawbree's greatest glazer who made it major with the manufactured mob boss's craziest hater, Joe Budden. His proteges Rory and Mal had a fallout and went all out on their own pod now, got the craziest call out on Twitter after the Clippers posted a segment of them crapping on the Grammys rap selection, saying GNX and Kendrick should be sidestepping so the Clips can get all the attention. And this led to a deep dissection of Rory's old tweets, and then a live call where he refused to admit defeat or apologize for offensive things, leading people to believe he is beyond disrespectful, neglectful of his past remarks. The future of their podcast is now looking dark. So let's start ripping this story apart, but first, please like and subscribe to support my art.
I study
Rapaholics
for a living.
Now, Lawbrees and Gentlegrams, for those of you who do not know who Rory and Mal are, if we're looking at the last 10 to 15 years within hip-hop media, I think we gotta give them credit for the fact that they have been components in some of the most historic moments in hip-hop in this generation. They did, along with Joe Budden, the first interview that Pusha T had after the entire Drake beef. A great podcast where Pusha revealed his alleged source for where he got the, Drake's kid information from, along with some perspective on why Kanye and Drake have a weird back and forth and how Pusha T is almost banned from Kanye's recording sessions when Drake is around.
You know they love to sue.
Very informative interview. They were also around for every major Joe Budden moment from the moment of the podcast's inception. Well, at least Rory was around back then. All the criticisms Joe had about Drake's album Views at the time, which kickstarted Joe's massive back and forth with Drake. Rory was there for that. They were there for the era when Joe Budden left Everyday Struggle, when Eminem started dissing him, and Joe Budden fired back on his podcast, not in the booth.
Don't wait.
Jesus Christ.
But things obviously took a halt when in around 2020 or 2021, the Joe Budden podcast split up due to, I believe, some money issues. Rory and Mal went their separate ways, and everything changed after that. Now, I haven't really watched Rory and Mal's podcast ever since they split up with Joe, but I'm trying to give them some flack here, if that's the right expression, at the beginning of this video, because there's going to be ultimately a lot of heavy things to unpack, so let's get the good out of the way first. A lot of people say they're not a real hip-hop platform, right? They don't really talk about the music. I guess I would disagree in that regard. I remember back in the day, they had a really dope interview with Quentin Miller, the ghostwriter on a lot of Drake tracks from If You're Reading This Is Too Late.
I study
Quentin Miller
for a living.
They interviewed Chance the Rapper recently. That was a really dope sit down. Again, I don't watch the podcast, but they claim they do a whole segment where they play a bunch of up and coming artist music on the podcast. I think that's dope. That's something I'd like to do in the future as well. And I'll say this, I do feel like Joe Budden, ever since he split up with Rory and Mal, has kind of deviated some of the subject matter of the podcast to talk about, relationships and everyday life. I don't feel like Rory and Mal do that as much. When I see, random clips of theirs pop up on my feed, I feel like it's usually music related. But sadly, that's not what gets the clicks and the views in 2025 as much as the BS. And that's what brings me into the main point of what, on the surface, I feel like the Rory and Mal show has evolved into, which is essentially
I'm some OVO, dick-riding, Drake-caping
a massively absurd Drake glaze fest where, of course, their main co-host, Mal, who developed a friendship, allegedly, with Drake in 2022, pretty much latches onto Lawbree's log in a more delusional manner than any major media figure, completely throws objectivity out the window, and refuses to say anything that even minutely paints Drake in the slightest of bad lights. It's alright to have a bias. It's a whole other thing when you've completely transformed your brand, and therefore the brand of your podcast, into being the most outrageous defense mechanism for any ridiculous thing Drake does. And of course, with Drake doing more and more ridiculous things as the years have progressed, especially after the beef, it has made it more and more ridiculous and harder for Mal to defend him, but best believe he still continues to. I tip my hat to the persistence.
Do you think Lupe is a better rapper than Drake?
Rapper?
Yeah.
No.
Do you think Royce is a better rapper than Drake?
No.
Who do you think is a better rapper than Drake?
Hov?
What about Kendrick?
Nope.
DMX?
Nope.
Is Black Thought a better rapper than Aubrey Graham?
Nope.
Do you think Aubrey Graham is a better rapper than Drake?
Nope.
And as a result, again, this has spiraled their podcast into becoming more known for Mal kind of rage baiting the entirety of hip hop fans into listening to his ridiculous glazing about Drake, and then Rory sometimes playing the devil's advocate, keyword sometimes, trying to help Mal see the other side. I mean, you had this guy all throughout the battle. Aside from the cult of OVHOs on Twitter, he was probably the only one within the genre that was delusional enough to think that Drake had a better output than Kendrick Lamar.
Listen, all that. Drake is smashing this nigga, man. He's punishing this nigga. He's out rapping this nigga. It's not even close. The music is way better. The visual is way better.
And listen, you're entitled to your own musical opinions, obviously. It's completely fair. Funny, but fair. You'll see later in this video, though, that Drake's friendship with Mal might have played a part in these delusional takes. He wasn't always thinking this way. We'll touch on that later. But one thing I think that was, like, indefensible, like, no way you can make sense of this logic, is that when Drake initially filed his lawsuit against UMG, Mal was so confident that not only was he going to win, but he was also going to be granted somehow $2 billion from UMG for the sole fact that the record label did their job in releasing and promoting Not Like Us.
I think Drake is going to ask for something that no artist has ever asked for or received. And it's going to be very interesting to see if he receives that.
As far as money?
As far as compensation for damages.
Mm-hmm. On the lawsuit side?
Absolutely. We talking upwards of $2 billion.
$2 billion?
Absolutely.
Huh?
Now, I've debunked this in past videos, but, like, you gotta understand the magnitude of delusion that we're seeing from comments like this, right? And I think if you have a powerful voice in the industry to spew out stuff like this, it's not just that you're making yourself seem like a comic book character, like the Superman of meat slanging, but this is just also flat out irresponsible. You're discrediting yourself as a journalist, you're discrediting your entire brand, your entire podcast, and you're also giving, like, other artists the false sense of confidence that they could go and sue their record label and start getting millions of dollars. If Drake can go out and get $2 billion, then some random artist can surely go out and try to sue over lyrics and also catch a quick little bag, right?
I study
Sue over lyrics
for a living.
And it wasn't just Mal who this lawsuit had gassed up, it was his co-host as well. Rory had made a grand announcement that a Radio Rico was coming into the industry, basically implying that there was a lot of shady illegal practices going on behind the scenes, basically called payola, right? Where record labels, artists, they'll pay radio stations to boost their spins on the radio illegally. That was one of the accusations within Drake's lawsuit. And these Radio Rico claims obviously come off the heels of Drake filing this lawsuit, so it makes it seem like Drake is really pressing this red button that's having the entire industry in shambles, right? Rory was even comparing the lawsuit to Michael Jackson's battle against Sony, his record label back in the day, because similar to Drake, in the early 2000s, Michael Jackson had publicly accused Sony, specifically the executive Tommy Mottola, of sabotaging his career. He claimed that Sony was intentionally failing to promote his 2001 album Invincible and was trying to force him into giving up his music publishing rights, including the ownership that Michael had in the Beatles catalog, which Sony co-owned. Unlike Drake, he didn't actually sue Sony.
You know they love to sue.
But he launched a public campaign saying that the label was exploiting artists, calling Tommy Mottola racist and a devil. Sony obviously denied these accusations, and at the time, Michael Jackson was also in debt, and his relationship with the label had collapsed, so Sony eventually gained more control over his publishing because the profits of his music were used as collateral for his loans, all the debt that he was in. All in all, although he accused Sony and their executives of, being racist, of doing shady things, he was in too much debt to be able to actually fight them, and they ended up kind of winning this back and forth battle over the ownership of some of the biggest catalogs in music.
Spicy.
Now, where Mal will tell you, Drake was going to win $2 billion from UMG, or that this was a fight to get his masters back, if they actually read the paperwork of this case, which they didn't, you'll see that later in this video, they would know that there was no specific damages that Drake was requesting from UMG. He wasn't fighting for his catalog, he wasn't fighting for billions of dollars. He was fighting because he thought the record label destroyed his reputation on purpose because they were going to come back for contract renegotiations. And just by releasing the song, that caused Drake to be defamed, and then obviously promoting the song on massive stages like the Grammys and the Super Bowl allowed UMG to destroy Drake's career even further.
I study
Destroy career
for a living.
Now, why I bring this up is because obviously if you guys have been following the channel, then you know that the most dangerous thing about this lawsuit to begin with was the whole defamation claim, right? If Drake was able to convince a judge that by Kendrick rapping those bars in a rap battle that both of them willingly participated in, that he was therefore destroying Drake's reputation and there should be legal consequences because of it, it would set a whole new standard within the industry on how lyrics in general are able to be released and recorded in the future. That's why a lot of people were mad about this lawsuit, right? Me personally, I was not mad if Drake filed a lawsuit strictly about the bots. Like if he just came out and accused UMG of using bots on Not Like Us, yeah, we'd probably clown him a bit because it's like obviously the song was a success due to its quality. But okay, if you think there were some shady practices going on in terms of the promotion of the record, that would be cool to obviously unlock, right? To see the secrets behind the industry. But this was beyond that, right? Drake was requesting documentation relating to Kendrick Lamar's kids.
I study
Kendrick Lamar's kids
for a living.
Their relationship to Dave Free, any abuse allegations that UMG knew of related to Kendrick Lamar. But then Drake's lawyers had the nerve to try and tell the judge that she should not judge Not Like Us in the context of the entire rap battle. I bring that up to say, if the only accusation Drake made in that lawsuit was about bots, that would be one thing. But the main claim was defamation, and that's where he could set a scary precedent in the future for free speech. And that's what the judge said when she dismissed the case, that basically free speech laws protect Kendrick Lamar from expressing his opinion within this song. Rory didn't understand that.
I'm some OVO, dick riding, Drake caping nigga.
He didn't get why people were so angry about this lawsuit. In fact, he was confused why people weren't standing behind it. Again, comparing it to Michael Jackson, saying that Drake was on some superhero stuff, and that we're wrong for not defending this.
Michael Jackson tried to do this and they stopped him. Let's go for it, man. Like, what's so crazy with me, with the internet, for the last 7 years, y'all have been justifying snitching with real street. But when it comes to labels this week, snitching is against the rules now.
Now again, Rory clearly did not read the paperwork of this case, because once it finally got dismissed, he got back on his podcast and admitted that he didn't even understand the fact that it was over defamation. This entire case, the backbone of it was that Drake felt defamed by the song, and therefore UMG was wrong for releasing it and greenlighting all these wicked, evil promotional tactics like the bots and the fake streams. Goes back to what I was saying earlier in this video, that it's almost irresponsible to spread these narratives when you haven't fully completed your role as a journalist. If you don't want to call yourself a journalist, fine. Just like a music expert, a podcaster, what do you want to call yourself, right?
I'm some OVO, dick riding, Drake caping nigga.
Even Snacka Diddler went on his live stream and went through this lawsuit page by page with his audience to at least give the full story of what Drake is trying to do here. And even he didn't have the type of insane narratives that Rory and Mal did about this case. And when it finally did again get thrown out, Rory admitted that he didn't understand the main point of this lawsuit was about how Drake felt defamed. So imagine spreading all these narratives about a big red button being pushed, a radio Rico happening, radio is going to be destroyed, Drake is like Michael Jackson fighting, and we're all dumb for not backing him up on this. And then once the lawsuit actually gets in the hands of a federal judge, she throws it out, you admit that you never even read the lawsuit to begin with.
It's funny to see people's reaction. And again, people still not understanding what the case was about.
I, as someone that thought I understood it, now I actually don't. Because I know he was, from my understanding, initially suing for UMG promoting, pushing, and using bots about a song that was defaming him.
Mm-hmm.
Then the result was, all right, the case is dismissed because there's no defamation. I didn't even think he was suing for that.
Mm-hmm.
So now I'm just lost. K-Dot, K-Bot, the whole world, y'all win. I'm sorry. I'm an idiot.
K-Dot.
I'm sorry. I was wrong. I have no idea what the fuck is going on. Clearly the paperwork that I initially read is not even where the case ended up. Because I thought he was suing UMG for them promoting a song that defamed him.
And the worst part with all this, and you'll see this reflected in the recent controversy that went on with Rory, is that when he says something ignorant, misinformed, or even racist, he tries to downplay the entire thing, right? So with this lawsuit, when he admits, you know, I spread all these narratives about the big radio Rico, the big red button being pushed, but in the end, I didn't even read the lawsuit. Haha, sorry, guys. He tries to gaslight into making it seem like everyone was, you know, wishing these death threats on him. Everyone else was being the crazy one, taking it over the top because he liked one artist over the other. When it's like, no, obviously parts of the internet are going to be crazy. Death threats over you glazing Drake is never valid in any situation, but you're dodging accountability here, right? Because you were the one spreading these narratives. If you now act like you don't care about this lawsuit or about this battle or whatever the case is, why spread the narratives in the first place that make it seem like everyone else on the internet is dumb for not defending this lawsuit when you haven't even read the lawsuit?
Gaslighting is a type of manipulation that occurs in abusive relationships. It is when the abuser makes the victim question their sense of reality and their sanity. For example, the abuser would do something abusive, like call the victim a bad name. Then the victim would get mad, as any normal person would, and then the abuser would convince the victim that they're just too sensitive. And in the end, the victim would find themselves apologizing to the abuser even though they didn't start the problem in the first place.
And now, when you admit you haven't read the lawsuit, your stance on the entire thing is, why do people even care? I mean, you guys are ridiculous sending me death threats over this. Again, yes, death threats are absolutely ridiculous, but as someone with a big voice in the space, are you really trying to stoop to the level of random people with 3 followers on Twitter? Or can you acknowledge that, you have a big voice here, and even if you have your biases, you should still use your platform to spread truthful information, right? No, instead, it's the internet's fault. They were just taking this whole lawsuit too seriously, even though months before this, you're telling me Drake is the next Michael Jackson, and all you guys that are hating on this lawsuit are out of your minds.
It's like the people that are like, this is why he should die.
Yeah.
Those are my favorite.
The ones that take it there. Like somebody should die behind all of this, yeah.
Yeah, and his co-host should commit. And it's like,
Yeah.
because he likes a rapper that you don't.
But hey, as much as we could say Rory doesn't maybe take accountability, at least he's kind of admitting that he was uninformed, to say the least, on this lawsuit, right? Maul, on the other end, is so drunk off Drake's ding-dong, he can't see what the hell this lawsuit is even about in the first place. All he knows is that if Drake said it, it's the truth, it's law.
The people have to know that his lawyer, his team, they're going to appeal this and take this to another level. I don't know if people know that. Like, this is not,
of course
this is not over with. Like,
I mean, shit, the shitty, should we just let it go?
No, see, no. No.
At this point.
No. Why? But would you? If you and your team, your lawyers had things in your possession that prove what you're saying is correct.
It depends the judge, and that's why the appeal process exists. Didn't they reveal everything? Because that was also something I saw on the OVO stand side of like, nah, he purposely was trying to lose the first one so he could reveal more in the appeal. And I was like, well, why wouldn't he just...
Yeah, no, I'm not...
Just give...
I'm not speaking to shit. I'm speaking to factual shit. Like real things. Like this is not over with.
I mean, guys, it's the level of glazing here is absolutely insane.
I'm some OVO, dick riding, Drake caping nigga.
I mean, he's really basically trying to tell us that this lawsuit is not over until Drake says it is. It doesn't matter how many millions of dollars he ends up spending on lawyers. It doesn't matter that he's going against a multi-dozen billion-dollar corporation. I don't know if that made sense, but he's going up against titans who probably have stronger lawyers than he is, and he's going up against a federal judge who already thought this lawsuit was bogus and tossed it out the first time. You really think that Drake is the one in the driver's seat right now? Like, how much of a god do you think this man is that he can beat out a multi-dozen billion-dollar corporation and a federal judge with the baseless BS claims that he has, all because he was butthurt over losing a rap battle?
Yeah, so I don't believe that this is over. I don't believe that Drake and his team and his lawyers are letting this go. I do think that this is going to another level. Universal knows, or they know. The internet can say, "Oh yeah, I told you he lost it." Ask Universal if they think this is over. Like, just ask somebody at Universal if they think that this case is over.
Well, I think Drake's lawyers have already talked about, like, obviously saying that we'll file an appeal. So
yeah, but that's what I'm saying. So the blogs and content creators can react and make videos. Oh, all of y'all stupid, look stupid. Da da da. It's like, okay, I mean, but this is not over. Like, yes, this judge dismissed it and dismissed the case in that court, but this is now going to another level, and that only speaks to, again, what I'm looking at. He obviously knows something. His team knows something. He has great lawyers. Yeah, it got dismissed in that court, but again, this is far from over. We haven't heard the last of this lawsuit with Drake versus UMG.
And I'm not lying, guys. He literally said word for word, this thing is not over until Drake says it's over. It doesn't matter what the federal government says, the judge, whoever. It matters what Drake says only.
So, Maul, if he loses the appeal, then what's your stance if he loses the appeal?
My stance as far as what?
As far, because you're saying like this is not over, this is over. So this is not over. When do you think it'll be over? Like if he loses the appeal, is it over then?
I think it's over when Drake says it's over.
So as much of a caricature as Maul has become,
I'm some OVO, dick riding, Drake caping.
And as much as Rory kind of just lets it slide for the sake of the podcast, the one who I think comes in with the most logic and reason is Damaris, the moderator of the show. She even tries to, lead Maul to logic in terms of this whole Drake lawsuit thing. And she does the same thing later when Rory gets into his entire mess. She tries to help him, throw him a bone. Both of them seem to completely fumble the assist. I mean, look at her trying to help Maul get to some logical point with this Drake lawsuit.
All I know is if you see somebody adamant as Drake is right now, there's a reason. If he's not bowing out, you can't be like, nah, bow out, you lost, back. There's a reason he's not.
And I've seen some of the rhetoric that he might not be backing down because it's an ego thing, right? Like I have to prove that something was done. If I don't prove that something was done and I just lost just because I lost, like I don't like that. Like something has to be done about this. Like that's why I'm staying in our business. Like
so you're saying other people may think that he's not backing down because he doesn't want to bow out to save face, basically.
Yes.
I don't think this is that.
So last thing on this lawsuit, the most delusional thing I think Maul said is basically that even though the judge is going to throw out this case, it's complete bogus. UMG should still take down Not Like Us off of streaming platforms. Censor, remove the song completely.
Again, because I'm not sure everything, that Universal did, but I would definitely make sure that we're not funding this song, calling our top artist something that we believe he's not. I wouldn't jump behind it and promote that and put all the entire building behind that message. If I'm the CEO of that label, I wouldn't do that. Just because it's a level of, I think, loyalty that we owe this artist.
So that shows you how far he'll go to glaze Drake, right? Like he's literally gotten to the point where he's like, we should take down the most impactful hip hop song of the last probably 5-10 years. No one should be able to listen to it because it hurt Drake's feelings, even though it was a product of the rap battle he willingly participated in. I bring this up for just basically two main points. As you guys can see, the brand of Rory and Maul after they left Joe Budden podcast has basically devolved into Maul just becoming this caricature that no matter what, will defend Drake throughout the ins and outs of any ridiculousness he sets forth within the industry.
I'm some OVO, dick riding, Drake caping.
And Rory seems to kind of piggyback off of him, sometimes offering some balanced takes, but also not being scared of being shamelessly wrong and spreading some very false narratives, right? Now, this alone isn't enough to, completely spiral the Rory and Maul podcast into oblivion, but what happened over the last few days just might be the straw that broke the camel's back. So, as you guys know, the Grammys are coming up over the next few months, and the nominees officially got released last week. Most hip-hop fans were very happy to see that they finally got it right in terms of selecting albums of the year and just putting hip-hop on the platform it deserves to be on. After a lot of talk this year about, Kendrick killing hip-hop because Drake is no longer the top guy who can give features to all these mumble rappers. And because of that, now there's no songs from hip-hop in the top 40 of the billboards. I don't know for certain, but I'm sure these were narratives that Maul was spreading as well. Anyways, now the world got to see, that there was a lot of amazing hip-hop music this year because while the Grammys don't necessarily dictate anything, you do kind of look back on them as a timestamp in that period of time. And when you're looking at Album of the Year nominations, for the first time in a very long time, I think it's maybe happened like 2 other times, you're seeing not 1, not 2, but 3 hip-hop albums in the main Album of the Year category. Chromacopia by Tyler, GNX by Kendrick Lamar, and Let God Sort 'Em Out by The Clips.
Kendrick just opened his mouth, and I'm about to put my dick in it right now. Someone go hand him a Grammy right now.
Now, in the Best Rap Album category, you also have those same 3 albums, plus Glorilla with Glorious and God Does Like Ugly by Jid. All in all, the selections were great. But remember that Maul can't like Kendrick Lamar because he has to glaze everything Drake does, right? Even though the battle was a year and a half ago, even though the Grammys and GNX as an album have nothing to do with Drake, even though Maul runs a hip-hop podcast, he can't champion and celebrate an artist who has gone on a historic run within the genre. No, instead, a lot of people have been calling Kendrick a Grammy darling. And honestly, to me, what the hell is so bad about being called a Grammy darling? Does it have some sort of negative connotation like, oh, he doesn't deserve these Grammys, or like they're just kind of, the whole thing is rigged and they're just giving them out to him? Because to me, a Grammy darling seems like someone who accomplished so much in this year that they're music can't be ignored. They have to be honored and awarded at the highest degrees, right? Like I remember being, I think I was like 11, 12 years old when Lil Wayne went on that massive run in 2008. He was most definitely a Grammy darling in 2009, right? Kanye went on a tear throughout the late 2000s, early 2010s. He was absolutely a Grammy darling every year that I tuned in throughout high school, right? Like I knew he was a lock-in for all the rap categories. Kendrick is on that type of level right now where he's making the moments, he's making the projects that deserve the praise on the level of all these greats that we saw in the past who got that type of praise. And it's like a damned if you do, damned if you don't situation, right? Because we always talk about the artists who have got snubbed throughout the years. Snoop Dogg has never won a Grammy. I don't think Nas has ever, or he just recently won a Grammy, right? So it's always this uproar about the people who don't get the credit they deserve, but when you're seeing the right nominees win the awards they deserve, then it's, oh, they're winning too much. They need to step aside. And you know Maul is going to have a field day with that narrative, right? Because of the whole bar. Kendrick just opened his mouth. Someone go hand him a Grammy right now. Drake was trying to seem like he's an industry puppet, right? That like whenever he puts out music, he's going to get awarded no matter what because the whole system is rigged, right? The red button is about to be pressed 2.5 years later. So Kendrick being this Grammy darling, that's a good narrative for Maul to run off with. It makes him look like he's at the mercy of the industry versus his hubby Drake, who's, you know, out in the UK doing Wireless Festival talking about how, you know, London rappers are way better than American rappers, which is funny. You want to talk about bars aging well. Remember Whacked Out Murals? He said, this type of stuff would make you guys move out to Europe. Drake has been in Europe ever since then. Story for a different video.
I study
move out to Europe
for a living.
So, on the Rory and Maul podcast, they're going through the Grammy nominations. They get to the Best Rap Album of the Year category. Damaris, who again seems like the most logical one on the show, reads out the list of nominees. She says that she feels like Clips deserves to win and she's going to be pissed because she already knows that Kendrick is about to sweep. If you guys didn't know already, Kendrick is the most nominated artist of this year's Grammys with 9 nominations, so a sweep is looking like it's definitely in order. And, you know, I don't necessarily disagree with Damaris about, you know, wanting the Clips to win that Best Rap Album of the Year category. I explained this in my Grammys video because a lot of people are saying, like, how could you want GNX to win in Album of the Year category but then want the Clips to win in Rap Album of the Year, right? If you think GNX is Album of the Year, then surely it should also be Rap Album of the Year. And yeah, logically, that absolutely does make sense, but there is nuance to this conversation because, again, music is subjective, right? And when we think about who had the most impactful run in the last 12 months, who had the most reach, who moved the culture the most, 100% you have to give that to Kendrick Lamar, right? He didn't just move the culture, he moved music as a whole. I mean, people are literally crediting hip-hop not being on the charts to one artist in Kendrick Lamar. Thanks to Kendrick Lamar, you had artists like AZ Chike score record deals with Warner. You had stadium tours, record-breaking touring numbers be broken by a hip-hop artist. I mean, today, I think it was literally just today as I'm recording this video, the GNX tour became the highest hip-hop grossing tour in history.
I want to perform their favorite song.
You had him bring DJ Mustard on the Super Bowl stage, right? Performing AZ Chike and Lefty Gunplay's verses, right? Getting these underground West Coast artists their first ever Grammys and even their first ever record deals, right? So groundbreaking things all across the board. Hit after hit as well. Amazing storytelling on that project as well, from songs like Reincarnated to Gloria to Heart Part 6. When I think of the last 12 months in music, I definitely think of GNX. But don't forget, GNX came out in November. And from November to July, how many massive hip-hop projects can you name me were released throughout that time period? Drake's Sexy Sleepy Songs for You album, Playboi Carti's music album. It felt like 2025, not like the last 12 months, but just 2025, the calendar year, was kind of void of a major moment within hip-hop until the Clips dropped. And when I think hip-hop album of 2025, that's the first thing I think of. I mean, just from the fact that this is two brothers going back to the basics of what they were doing almost 30 years ago, keeping it all the way tied to their origins by having Pharrell basically produce the entire project, from the emotional depth of the intro to then quickly shifting the whole energy of the project with the next song, Chains and Whips, seeing some of the best hip-hop guest features of the year too, with Kendrick, Tyler, and Stove God Cooks. And considering the fact I don't think the Clips have won any sort of Grammy throughout their career, and that they had hip-hop on their backs for the entire summer, so much so to the point where you had artists like Consequence saying that there's no hip-hop summer anthem because the Clips are making old people music. I mean, if you guys didn't know, Consequence is closely tied to Kanye West, and obviously they were sending shots at Kanye West on that Clips album, so, you know, he's doing that for his certain narrative, but it still shows the type of impact that the Clips had on hip-hop throughout this summer, throughout this entire year. I just personally feel like there should be room for both albums to shine. And in my opinion, I think when you're talking music as a whole, you got to give it to Kendrick Lamar's GNX. I do think that album also covers a wider, broader spectrum. I mean, if you want to talk storytelling, I think the storytelling songs on that project are stronger than Let God Sort 'Em Out. I think the hits are stronger on GNX as well. I think the versatility, the broad soundscape that Kendrick Lamar brings on GNX, from production to subject matter to even the features, right? Going from like a smooth R&B track with SZA to then some like West Coast gritty type of clump banger with Hey Now with Dodie Six. I just think when we're talking music, you got to give it to GNX. But when we're talking hip hop from 2025,
I study the Clips for a living.
I feel like no one has made hip hop feel more alive than Clips with their project in this year. Now, I'm sorry for the long rant. I just want to emphasize that I kind of feel similarly to Demar's, but I mean, she's saying like, I will be pissed if GNX wins this category. I would definitely not be pissed, but I would be pissed if the Clips don't win anything at all throughout this year. Because don't forget, they're also nominated for like 5 awards. So I definitely think they deserve at least something. I predict they're going to win Best Rap Song for Birds Don't Sing. That's what I've been saying. And I've been saying it before the nominations even came out. This was my prediction back in September. So clock it when it happens in February. The most delusional part of this entire freaking thing is not that Damaris will be pissed if GNX sweeps. It's that Maul thinks if you have to take one album out of these 5 in the Best Rap Album category, again, you have the Clips album, Tyler's album, Kendrick GNX, Glorilla's album, and Jid's album, Maul thinks you should take out GNX of all the projects in here.
Okay, sorry. The official nominees for Best Rap Album at the 2026 Grammys are Let God Sort 'Em Out by The Clips, Glorious by Glorilla, God Does Like Ugly by JID, GNX by Kendrick Lamar, Chromacopia by Tyler, the Creator. GNX is going to sweep and it's going to piss me off because The Clips deserves to win. And that's not Kendrick
just
Lamar
opened his mouth. Someone gonna hand him a Grammy right now.
Jamal.
Where's your
Jamal?
I'm just saying the boy is prophetic. That's all I'm saying.
He's a Grammy darling. That goes without saying. Do we think Alfredo 2 should have been in here?
Absolutely.
Okay, but what do we take out?
GNX.
You can't take out one of the highest selling albums.
All right, so
in
fuck it. Let me
Grammy
be
cycle.
misogynistic. Glorilla.
Okay, I would agree with you. The only reason
I was trying to keep a female representation there. I was trying.
The only reason why I think they got it right,
all right,
because I'm not looking at whatever my taste is. If you're trying to put together a proper category that does reflect the entire genre, I could see why you would put Glorilla in there. The album is good.
It's a good album.
I personally would put Alfredo 2 there before it, but I get why they would do this. Like,
yeah.
Sometimes they keep it fair, sometimes they don't. I could never really, figure that out with the Grammys. But I mean, congrats to everyone in this category. I think they'll give it to Clips, Let God Sort 'Em Out, but won't give it to them in the Album of the Year category. I don't think they'll snub the Clips twice. I don't think the Grammys has the balls to do that.
They did it to Beyonce like 15 times. You don't think they got the balls to do it to the Clips?
Yeah, but Beyonce never sold coke.
You don't know that. You don't know that.
Sold coke. That's what
you don't know that.
Not knowing that Beyonce ever sold coke.
She's never stepped on something to make it.
Yeah. Beyonce never tap danced on a brick before. We know
So
that.
y'all don't think that JID could be taken out for Alfredo too?
No.
Okay.
No, it would be Glorilla for me in the rap category, but I don't want that to look like it's Glorilla hate because she is my favorite female rapper, and I thought the album was good. But
Glorilla is your favorite female rapper?
Currently?
He didn't say of all time. He said currently.
Definitely not of all time.
Oh, I'm about to be like, what is happening? But currently?
No, she's my favorite rapper of all time. I'm not even female.
So with Maul saying this, obviously people were like, this delusion is getting too far, right? I mean, it's one thing to say Drake is a prophet for rapping. Kendrick just opened his mouth. Someone go hand him a Grammy right now. I mean, only a glazer like Maul could somehow find a way to try to spin that bar aging well into a W for Drake when a diss song from this same battle resulted in Kendrick Lamar winning 5 Grammys last year. Ridiculous. But that's one thing. He wants to be delusional in that regard, fine. But now you're just completely saying whatever the hell just to rage bait people, right? And this is why I feel like he's literally just become a caricature of his former self for purely engagement purposes, right? Like, the more people talk about how much of a glazer how much of a glazer Maul is to Drake, the more, views his podcast gets, the more they get discussed. But he doesn't realize, like, not all publicity is good publicity. He'll realize that very shortly in this video.
Spicy.
Now, what a lot of people actually stuck to throughout this entire segment wasn't actually Maul saying this ridiculousness about GNX, right? It's Maul, we expect him to glaze Drake to any extent possible, but The level-headed one throughout the podcast is usually Damaris, right? So people were kind of taken aback when it's like, she's obviously emphasizing she wants the clips to win, but she's doing it in a way where it's a massive backhanded statement to Kendrick, or not a backhanded statement, I don't know what the right term is, but obviously by saying, obviously GNX is going to sweep, and I'm going to be so pissed because I want the clips to win. That comes across like you hate Kendrick more than you actually like the clips. And shout out to Screwface John, because he was the one who actually kind of noticed this, right? He tweeted out, "Could be wrong, but it seems like she doesn't like Kendrick more than she's actually rooting for the clips." And Damaris responded to him saying, "Hi, I'm happy you said you could be wrong because you are indeed wrong, but I appreciate you leaving the door open for correction." And then she actually went on to post her playlist, or her recently played music, and it shows that, you know, she was playing a lot of clips music. She's proven to everyone that she really does love the clips. She doesn't just hate Kendrick. So this thing starts kind of escalating in discussions on Twitter. Punch from TDE even chimes in and he says, "Why do people hate winners so much? Or is it the ones who keep winning? What's the root? I mean, I know it's like a self thing, but..." So, you know, Damaris is clapping back. She's saying she's not hating on Kendrick. She loves the clips, and I'm sure she does. But the problem is when you get a little too confident on the internet, you're gonna wake up a beast you might not want to be poking at, all right? And that's exactly what happened, because with the whole internet saying she hates Kendrick more than she actually likes the clips, not only was Damaris trying to prove that she really does like the clips, but she was also trying to prove she doesn't hate Kendrick Lamar. So she replied to one fan saying, "Show me where I said verbatim I hate Kendrick's voice. I'm not a fan," is what I remember saying. "I listen to Kendrick's music. I do not hate Kendrick. I said multiple times I respect him and that he deserves what he gets. I've been very impartial. This narrative is starting to irritate me. Y'all aren't victims." So then the K-bots, as they call them, had to come back out with the receipts, alright? So they found a clip where she literally says verbatim, "I hate Kendrick Lamar's voice." I mean, she was literally pulling a Euphoria here. She was going like, "I hate the way you walk, the way you talk, I hate the way you rap." All of it.
We're not Kendrick Lamar fans. I've said on every platform possible, I hate the way Kendrick Lamar raps. I hate the sound of his voice.
Same. I hate his voice.
I hate his voice. And I will not listen to him again simply because I hate the sound of his voice. It does not take away from the talent.
And I could be wrong. I bring this up because I think this is what started the rabbit hole of fans just going through hers, Rory, and Mal's old tweets and just searching up random things to try and see, you know, what they were thinking about before all these crazy biases came into place, right? I did the same. So I initially went on both Rory and Mal's Twitter, and all you got to do is very easy. People were acting like I was spending tons of time doing this. They don't realize, like, this is my job at this point, right? Which I love saying that. Coming to you guys, bringing you guys this stuff. You've made my life a pleasure to live, all right? So thank you guys. But yeah, I mean, I was just like, I got to do my little journalistic investigative work, right? I'm not a journalist by any means, but I'm a little YouTuber out here in these streets, right? So before the real craziness popped off with Rory and Mal, I just want to see again, like what these guys were thinking before the beef happened, like when Mal was allowed by Drake to actually like Kendrick Lamar, what they were saying, you know, before they started spewing all these crazy narratives out into the world. So Rory had said one thing, which is funny. This is right around the time when he just dropped that "like that" verse, right? F the big three, it's just big me, and no one really knew where this was about to go. Rory tweeted out, "Kendrick is a GOAT, but coming back outside just to shoot at the other two that are always outside, it looks a little funny in the light. I don't know. I just don't think the control formula / moment will work in this scenario." What he means is to basically call these guys out by name, shake up the whole game, and stir up a bunch of controversy, make all these people mad. Rory thinks that angle wouldn't have worked. And this is what a lot of people were saying back then, right? That like Kendrick Lamar isn't battle tested. He doesn't know what he's getting himself into. This is all just for clicks. So I replied to this tweet from last year saying, yeah, it ended up working. And Rory actually responded, acknowledging that it most definitely did work. But this is also funny. Almost 10 years ago, Rory tweeted out, "You know, it is okay to like Kendrick, Drake, J. Cole, and Big Sean, right? You don't have to pick just one." And so I told him, tell that to your buddy Mal. Because as much as you guys want to say I might be a K-bot, I might be a biased man or whatever, I'll admit to you guys when I think Drake puts out good music, right? I think Drake from 2009 to 2015 put out some of the best projects that we heard in mainstream hip-hop in that era. Did he write it? I don't know about that, but even at this point with the lawsuit and everything, I'm open to giving Iceman a fresh ear. Like, you guys will hear me when the album drops, if it even does. I think he might cancel it, but if it ends up dropping, I will come on here and try to be as unbiased as possible, critique the music for what it is. I still want to hear good music from everybody, but it doesn't seem like Mal feels the same way, right? Because at this point, whatever Kendrick does, he's judging it from the lens of you're a crappy person because you hurt my best friend's feelings, my husband's feelings, Drake, and your song should be removed off a streaming platform. So then I went digging onto Mal's Twitter, right? And so Mal had an interesting little thought or a little tweet from the same night that Like That dropped, because obviously it was Future's song, right? So he tweeted out, Future gonna catch a stray or two. He basically passed Kendrick the Swami. And I mean, if you guys remember, on Family Matters, the stray that Mal was talking about that was sent Future's way from Drake was him rapping, this Pluto stuff make me sick to my stomach. We ain't never really been through it. Metro Boomin's an effing lame, so I know he had to be an influence. So yeah, the stray was Drake crying about how him and Future always got along and he didn't know what happened there. But it gets better, guys, alright? As you can see, 10 years ago, Mal tweeted out, Kendrick Lamar can really, really rap. And I said, yep, he most definitely can. Even crazier, in my opinion, is in 2016, February 2016, Mal tweeted out, Kendrick and J. Cole proved that people still want to hear lyrics. And I said, notice he didn't mention his husband Drake in this tweet, right? Like, isn't it crazy to think that when he was thinking of the artists who were bringing lyricism back to the forefront 10 years ago, he was thinking of Kendrick and J. Cole. He was not thinking about his pop star husband that he now says is destroying Kendrick Lamar in a rap battle. The two guys that Mal was thinking about that were reviving hip hop or bringing lyricism back were Kendrick and J. Cole. And I think I forgot, I'm getting caught up in this video. But yeah, how to find these old tweets, it's very, very easy. And I bring this up to say, like, this is how people found all the disgusting tweets that Rory was tweeting out. All you got to do is go on someone's Twitter profile and there's a search bar at the top right. You just search in whatever like keyword you want to see. So if I want to see all the tweets where Mal mentioned Drake, there would be too many to count, but all I would do is search up Drake and I would see every single tweet where he mentioned Drake's name. Oh yeah, and I actually explained that to an OVHO. They were trying to clown me for literally taking 3.5 seconds to just search up the word Kendrick Lamar in Mal's Twitter profile. Right away, I figured this dude is probably a Drake fan. And, you know, a Drake fan will tell you that a Drake hater will love to talk about Drake. But have you ever tried investigating how much Drake fans actually talk about Kendrick Lamar? Well, I decided to, and if you look at this guy's profile, I'm not going to call his name out or even mention it for the sake of this video, but you could go search this guy's profile if you find this tweet on my page. You'll see that this man had more than 10 tweets, not just talking about Kendrick Lamar, but actually mentioning Kendrick Lamar by name in a single day. Imagine hating someone, but tweeting about them 10 times in the span of 24 hours. That's what we're dealing with here, guys.
I'm some OVO, dick riding, Drake caping.
So while I'm doing this, like, this just kind of spawned into my head randomly. I'm like, let me go look at what these guys were saying about Kendrick Lamar and Drake back in the day. But people really went digging, and they found some really disgusting things, all right? So these tweets ranging from like 2011 to all the way to like 2017, they're pretty crazy, all right? You had stuff like this. Now you'll see Rory tries to, you know, just emphasize that he was joking, like people were more insensitive back in the day and Twitter wasn't as big of a thing as it was. So, you know, he thought he was just talking to his friends in his inner circle, playing it off like, you know, these things were just jokes. Now, the only thing I have to say is that I don't see the humor in these jokes. I see the central theme of these quote unquote jokes being about black women, which I don't understand why there's such a heavy fixation on that. But to take him for his word that these were jokes, I personally don't understand A, the humor behind them necessarily, and B, why so many of them are aimed at black women, and a lot of like sexually charged jokes too, if that makes sense. Like stuff like this, white guys like some chicks, so now I suppose I'll have to be like a and celebrate my birthday for a whole month. You're B, fixing her makeup in my rims word. Mind you, these 3 tweets are alleged because I believe he deleted them, but maybe they never existed if we really want to play like deep devil's advocate here. Also important to note, I mean, listen, I'm not a freaking software engineer. I remember Twitter being different back in the day. There was no like retweets, I guess, but there was something like, if you look at old tweets, you'll often see that it says like RT. That means I think someone was quoting someone else on Twitter. So you had tweets like this, where I don't think Rory was the one who actually said this. I think he was just quoting the tweet. But the tweet is pretty messed up to be quoting in the first place. I don't know if I'm missing context here or something, but I think in any context, like, what the hell would be the point to retweet this? I don't know. You got stuff like this. Is it safe to call Rihanna a HOE yet? Or are we still letting it slide because she got B-E-A-T. I don't know if I could say this stuff on YouTube. And I don't know why you would be saying it on Twitter. I don't understand. Are these supposed to be jokes? And if so, where is the punchline? And why are they, again, all targeted at black women and also sexually charged, right? Like he's talking about white women sleeping with black women and Rihanna being an HOE, tweeting about Lauren London being pregnant so her kids can end gang violence. Is the joke here because Lauren has a baby with Lil Wayne who, you know, says he's a blood, and then Nipsey Hussle is a Crip, and so she has a kid with a blood and a kid with a Crip? I'm trying to understand the, I guess, punchlines behind all this, because to me, it really doesn't. The intention behind a lot of these tweets makes absolutely no sense, and I'm assuming there has to be some sort of context to this, right? If not, there's no way he would be defending this on a 4-hour Twitter Spaces afterwards. The Hood Rats are out at this Jeezy show, which is cool. I've been meaning to get myself a baby mom, just haven't got around to it. Anyways, you guys get the point, right? Like, if these are jokes, these are gross jokes at the very least. A lot of insensitive crap. And ultimately, Rory hops on a Spaces last night hosted by the Twitter user RAQI for real, Rocky for real. Just want to, I guess, give her credit for hosting this Spaces. He was getting absolutely cooked. Him and both Maul.
You sitting here playing with people, bro, and that's what's pissing me off, bro.
How am I playing with people?
I don't even get like this, bro, but you playing in the face, bro. With all this smart
I respect
shit
everything you're saying, and I do agree. So I'm
going
really
back
asking.
over it. The people in the comments that's throwing up the hundreds, they heard what the fuck you said. I ain't about to repeat shit. I said what I said already, and you know what you said. That's it. Hey, Rory, that's it, bro. You apologize, now move on. Let's move on to another topic or something.
I can apologize if we have a conversation.
If somebody, no, I don't want to have a conversation with you, Rory.
Which is fine.
Okay,
you don't have to have one with me.
That's
Fine.
bro.
I'm not asking that you need to have a conversation with me.
Rory, I ain't come here to have a conversation with you. I came here to bark on you, and then
Which
you
is
can
fine.
shut the fuck up, and then you can move the fuck on, bro.
Okay,
No, I'm saying I'm the one that's saying here to address everything.
Next
I'm not running from anything.
Next person can talk.
Hold on. What did Rory apologize for?
He apologized for some of the tweets that he would not retweet or post or say today in 2025.
Man, get the fuck out of here.
How I tell you to come on and get him off, and you make it worse? Jesus.
With this shit. Yo, Rory.
Hiring?
Hey, yo, Rory, go
Who
to
is
sleep.
hiring?
Bro. Go to sleep. Yo, Rory, go to bed, man. Go to bed.
Man,
I know you ain't in here. I know you ain't in here
out your mouth.
apologizing for no
How about
shit
that?
like that.
Because you got some weird ass tweets that we can bring up.
This nigga got weird ass tweets too.
Foul ass. We can get down on your ass, Maul.
You could get down on who is that? Who is that?
Ass.
Who is that?
Right. Who is that? Yeah.
Who is that?
Right. Both of y'all clowns
tweets.
Get off the space.
We know you got weird.
Both of you clowns.
Hey,
Yo, that's
clowned
the
out
same guy.
Hey,
clowned out suckers.
Bro, y'all are
he's
crazy.
cornball. Hey, yo, Rory, man.
Yeah,
just
get
go
your
to sleep,
goofy
man.
ass off
You
here,
in here with
boy.
some cornballs.
Yeah,
Go to
get your
sleep,
goofy
bro.
ass off here, boy. Clown.
Oh, that's a tough guy right there. Gangster.
Right. No, I ain't tough. It's the internet. It's the internet.
Hey, Mo, if y'all
That's the internet.
Gangster.
It's the internet, brother. I don't get tough until niggas get flight itineraries.
Oh, boy. Spell itinerary.
Hey, next question, brother.
Spell itinerary.
Yeah, spell the foul, goofball.
Yeah.
Silly ass. Yeah, if niggas start pulling up your tweets,
hey,
Rory,
pull up my tweet. Pull them up.
Yeah,
get dark
your
weird.
Ass out of here, goofball.
Pull up my tweets. Who is
Rocky,
that?
who got the next question? Stop. Get these suckers off the mic.
I'm trying to figure out why
These
Rory
niggas is suckers, bro.
Hey, Rocky,
you niggas talk crazy about black women. Y'all backbite. You niggas is clowns, bro. Y'all beta males, bro.
Hold on.
And if you're wondering, did he apologize? I don't really know if there's a yes or no answer for that. I mean, I did hear him say, I think at one point, I'm sorry if my tweets offended anyone, but he wouldn't necessarily apologize for making these jokes, right? And it kind of goes back to his whole stance with the Drake lawsuit as well, right? Like, he just can't really take the accountability to just say, you know what? I was wrong for saying this stuff. It was insensitive. He was on there on that Twitter Spaces saying that, you know, he won't apologize for calling black girls ugly because he didn't. But then, you know, you can see that he had tweeted out saying white guys like ugly black chicks and then deleted that tweet. So it's like, are you really sorry for these jokes, or are you going to just continue joking your way out of it and failing to listen to people who were genuinely offended by this stuff? I heard him drop the R word in there several times, like he was calling people the R word for not seeing how he was joking with all these offensive tweets, right? It just seemed like someone whose back was against the wall and whose ego, I guess, was too big to admit that they were wrong. So I'll let you guys hear some of this Twitter Spaces. It did not end well for Rory and Mal. I mean, whooping feet, I think he completely summed up the entire Spaces in the best way possible with this tweet. First, Rory is saying the tweets are fake. Then it was, I was probably joking. Then it was, Twitter used to be private. Then it was, my black girlfriend tweeted that from my phone. Then it was, I apologize. So let's take a look at the Spaces.
Anything you want to say to that was, I'm trying to get the right words here, because for one, I mean, okay.
What would be the right words?
I think she means she's trying
I guess being apologetic for.
I have no idea what that tweet is about or what joke was going on Twitter. I may have been retweeting that in the sense of during that time when everyone was killing dark-skinned women on Twitter, and I was the only one defending them during the wild, wild west of Twitter, which you was around for, Rocky, which all these people in probably in this Spaces have no idea what that time was like. When I was the only one defending dark-skinned women at the time, I may have retweeted that as a joke because we were all going back and forth of like, this is insane that somebody would even think like, I don't know. Man, I'm just thinking in my own mind.
Right.
Because I know what time it is. Like this, everybody that knows me on Earth, I know. Put your thumbs down. Put everything. I'm fine with that. Everybody that knows me knows. Come on, like this is crazy.
The whole space throwing their thumbs down. This crazy.
If I apologize for something that I did not even say or mean whatsoever, that would be disingenuous. Like I'm not about to apologize for a tweet saying I find black women unattractive. Everyone on Earth knows. The people that know me know exactly the complete opposite.
Rory, at least no more weave jokes.
Like, I'm not about to apologize for that. No, I'm not apologizing for
me. That wasn't even somebody tweeted that. I said that the wrong way. That was when you used to fake a RT that somebody said something like so that they could get canceled. You made a fake RT so that the person that you RT'd would get in trouble for like it's hard to explain if you weren't on Twitter back then, but when you used to put RT and then like say somebody said something and they never said. So that's what you were doing. Rory was trying to get the person that he said that to. But at the end of the day, don't waste your time explaining that, because if people weren't around when all of that was happening, they just really won't understand. Like they just won't understand that.
I don't think that was a fake RT, Damaris. I think that before you had the repost button, you would tweet out RT and your
response. Yes, I understand that.
No, but you can also fake the RT and put it as somebody else's at and say that they said this.
Tweet is real. That's why people are outraged. Like, you don't need to address the tweets.
That wasn't even the topic of conversation. Rory came in here with it on his own. It is, but it will become. I thought y'all was in here cracking jokes. It will become a real conversation.
I came in here to crack jokes, but
I thought this was jokes. I didn't know people.
It's not. Apparently, it's not the time.
I didn't know people was really offended by this.
I want to take my jokes back. Serious.
I would be a
like I wanted to joke, but
no more weed jokes.
All right.
1 second though. I'm going to say this though. I would be a full hypocrite if I didn't speak to some form of seriousness in these tweets when it comes to Rory.
Yeah, I thought y'all was in here cracking jokes, man. I didn't know this was a serious thing.
I came in here to joke too.
Yeah, I'm just here to joke, man. I ain't here.
Yeah. I understand that too, but everybody different. Everybody come on stage with a different motive, and they come on here and they got they words to say, so we can't stop.
Shawty had a list.
Nobody on Earth that knows me thought I tweeted black women are ugly. Like, this is like ridiculous at this point. So I came in here to joke.
Yeah, I don't know what this is right here. I thought y'all was in here laughing.
We were joking at one point, and then more tweets started resurfacing. I think, and Rory,
so now everybody's offended and hurt.
No, I think I'm speaking very genuinely to Rory, regardless of what our friendship is. I think that some of the tweets that are resurfacing can be hurtful, and I think you being the
hurtful
person
to
that
who,
you
though?
are. Sorry?
Hurtful to who? Who's hurt by those tweets?
Black women.
Beyonce.
Yo, y'all got to stop.
Nah, it's just
I'm
like when
nobody-
Ari Lennox was, hurt by the Bernie Mac. Like,
like cut it
like,
out,
it-
man.
it
We
happened.
gotta get past this. Like being offended is a choice. People need to understand that. Being offended is absolutely a choice. If you offended by something, you chose to be offended by that.
How many
I
positive
really
Kendrick
don't care
tweets can you
speak,
put up?
bro.
I really don't care for your feelings. So, L, there
That's
were
fine.
tweets that were brought up about Rory talking about Kendrick's artistry, and during the beef and things like that. It really wasn't like people were digging to find things on him, where it's like, oh, we're gonna pin him because he said some anti-black things. It's things that you stumble upon because the other tweets that you were making about Kendrick and the beef and the battle, we were just cooking you about.
I don't know, guys. I mean, think about it like this, right? Rory sat on that Spaces for, I think, 4 hours, just going back and forth with people, really just prolonging the inevitable of apologizing for something offensive he said, trying to either joke his way out of it or come up with new excuses as to, why he said the things he said or why he didn't say things. He was denying saying things that he really did tweet. And I think this just points to a long line of history in the past few years of Rory and Mal maybe not using their voice for the best reasons, not taking accountability or recognizing that they have powerful voices in the first place. But with everything that went down and really just everything we've seen in the last few years of what their brand has evolved into, given the history of everything they went through with the Joe Budden podcast and what they've built on their own, do their voices in media remain powerful and influential today? And beyond the Drake glazing, behind the crazy takes, beyond the wild narratives, can either of these guys come back from the crap show that was exposed on Twitter over the last few days? Let me know what you guys think, and I'll catch you in the next one.